Welcome, everyone, to A Call for Judgment. Remember that story recently that I covered that I'm sure most of you saw with your own eyes of the orange skies? Don't mind the fact that many of us saw videos of helicopters actually flame-throwing the woods out there in a straight line. That was nothing suspicious at all. No. Anyway, remember the orange skies that we saw? Well, conveniently, at the same time of all that, Nat Geo's decided to come out, National Geographic, and let us know that orange skies are the future, that we need to prepare ourselves. That's right, to get used to orange skies, because they're going to be occurring over and over. Now, I talked about how that was obviously a deliberate thing. Have to be pretty blind at this point not to realize it, but they use the weather, they use Mother Nature, they use climate change to get away with this type of stuff. They could do whatever they want. Even the notion that it was man-created or by the government, wouldn't even make they don't have to even deal with a conspiracy. Like with the magic potion, they had to cover the fact that people were skept. With this, they could just roll this stuff out that people would just be like, oh, come on, it's climate change, And again, they have to convince more and more people of this. And obviously, then you read stuff like I covered in the video I did on the fires about Bill Gates and Soros and Bezos and all these trillionaires who are just all about blocking the sun and sun shielding. Well, that's exactly what they just did. And that's why you'll see orange skies in the future and darker skies, because they want to prepare you for what they're going to do, which is sun shielding. Yet they'll tell us that there's a fire in California, but the sky is orange in New York, right? I even was reading articles about how the Canadian wildfire was affecting, I forget which country. It was Switzerland or something. I don't know if it was Switzerland. It was some country over the ocean. It flowed all the way over the ocean. And then another country was suffering from orange skies and or at least hazy skies. I mean, people just go, oh man, it's crazy. Yeah, real crazy, isn't it? Must not be a conspiracy theory. So get prepared for orange skies to be the new norm. As climate change drives an increase in wildfires, we're seeing more smoke lofted into the upper atmosphere each fire season. Depending on wind and weather, this smoke can spread hundreds of thousands of miles from its source, as we saw in early June on the U.S. East Coast. And we're likely to continue seeing it increase in severity, frequency, and longevity as the planet warms. As a photographer who has photographed over 125 wildfires in California over the last decade, and might I add, they should put in parentheses, and a liberal puppet working for the Nat Geo, he says he's gleaned some helpful tips and best practices for how to reduce exposure to harmful air once it reaches a town near you. Well, the best way to prevent harmful air would be to ground or destroy the planes that are dumping chemtrails in the sky on all of us. That would be a good start for, air pollution, right? What does anyone think? Maybe we could all go and, I can't say what I do because that would be, what I mean? But hey, maybe that's a start if we want to do something about it. But no. They'll tell us what we really need to do. So let's continue. In the U.S., the 10 worst wildfire seasons for acres burned have all occurred since 2004. That is really crazily convenient since 2004. Is that around when, George Bush, right, and then Barry Obama? Yeah, very interesting. Records are set and then rebroken each year in acreage, homes destroyed, and lives lost. There's no winner in breaking records for these categories. The conditions for smoke events impacting major population centers become more frequent and likely each year as climate change drives conditions such as heat, drought, and the increasingly important vapor pressure deficit that promote large wildfire growth. So wildfire is going to be one of the big things they use visually. Of course, remember, this is stuff that they're creating from the sky, from creating actual fires, okay? Not putting them out, by the way, but doing these things. They want to do this so that people become more and more convinced that climate change exists. Remember, telling us every year that it's record highs, that's what they've kind of been doing the last few years. Nobody was believing it. Right? People were just like, wow, it's 105. That's not, it's not like 150, right? They were doing stuff like that were you weren't really seeing anything. Yes, we've seen hurricanes, but they also are trying to be, yeah, but now it's something it's like, oh, wait a minute, the sky is orange, right? So now we're moving into the phase where they could literally sun shield, take away the sun with saying that it's really from wildfires and everything else. Thus, people will not be able to do what? I'm waiting for it. Say it with me. Grow food, right? On top of that, what else will they be able to do? Contaminate water, right? What else will they be able to do? Remove vitamin D from people's bodies, right? The sun, it's important, but climate change is more important. So we should shield it, of course. So they say an individual is powerless to change the weather or control where smoke goes. Sorry, individual is powerless to change the weather or control where smoke goes. But these are things you could do to prepare and protect yourself for the worst of it. Are individuals powerless to change the weather or control it? I don't know. Operation Popeye, cloud seeding, where they've even told us that they could make rain out of thin air, to stop droughts, but they don't do it, of course. They tried it and did it in Dubai, right? Yeah, you can create weather control. Disney told us in the 70s. Remember the documentary I've aired over and over? If you haven't, ask me in the comment section. I'll put it up on the website or I'll put it up somewhere, right? Disney telling us about being able to control the weather, control storms, control cloud formation. Funny, though, that was about 60 years ago, and we're in 2023, and we're still pretending in the mainstream media that we can't control the weather. All one has to do is just look up Operation Popeye when we created a monsoon and used it as warfare in the war in Vietnam, right? But we don't want to admit to that. Why would we? Because then people would say, wait, you created a monsoon? You were able to literally create rain? Then why aren't you stopping all these droughts from occurring? And why aren't we flourishing with farms and things like that? Oh, crap. Cat's out of the bag, right? Yeah, really. Oh, man. I love these people, too. Some of them, aren't in on it. Obviously, the elites are never going to bring that stuff up on the news because they're in on it. Someone like this, I'm sure might be in on it. But just people who act like they're scientists and they're so smart and they lecture you on climate change and stuff, and they've just been indoctrinated from books and from the news. And then you, bring up CIA operations and they just, blow it off like it's nothing. They're so into science and technology, yet they'll just be HAARP, that's a conspiracy theory. Oh yeah, sure it is. Oh yeah, Operation Popeye was just a known thing. And what is that that just happened one time? What happened? And then they won't even answer, just like with the potion. They won't answer. They just walk away. Oh, all right. So we were able to do it back then, but we haven't gotten any better at it now. We just were we created a monsoon in Vietnam, but yeah, this is kind of stupid. We're never going to do it again. It couldn't come in handy, putting out wildfires or stopping droughts, right?
As the Vietnam War reached a crossroads, the U.S. Army had important decisions to make if they wanted to tip the scale back to their side. All options were on the table, both conventional and unconventional. And among the most unusual plots was Operation Popeye, launched in an attempt to weaken the Ho Chi Minh Trail, the Viet Cong's most vital mechanism and supply flow tool. To accomplish this, the U.S. would turn the weather into a weapon of war. Operation Popeye utilized cloud seeding technology, a type of weather modification that artificially creates rain or snow. With it, the U.S. military extended at least 5 monsoon seasons, causing detrimental effects to the unknowing Vietnamese citizens and soldiers. The mission spanned 5 years and cost taxpayers over $15 million. Despite multiple hearings in Congress, military officers, and even President Nixon himself denied it existing at all.
It's really unbelievable. It goes on to say, if you have the luxury of an indoor job or remote work, staying inside gives you better control over the air environment. Those working outside should limit their physical activity. And while guidelines are being developed for outdoor air quality, some states like Washington even require workers to be provided with masks on extremely poor air days. Wow. Boy, it's almost this sounds really similar to something else that was created deliberately, right? Where they were telling you to stay inside, where they were telling you and handing us masks for free. Oh, right. There's no agenda here, ladies and gentlemen, at all. At all. You don't see the similarities? Stay inside, work from home, don't go outside, stay in your cell where we can monitor you. And if you do go outside, we'll give you, the state will supply you with a mask to wear. Oh, let me scratch my head for a second and think about the comparisons. It was only, a year ago or two. Yeah. Anybody thinking? Is anybody in this world thinking? It's the same thing. This is what they want us to be. Enslaved in our homes, locked in. Don't go outside. Don't get vitamin D. Don't see the sun. Don't grow food. Don't have any hobbies other than being online. Don't interact with other humans especially, because that's the last thing they need. Because then there could be something formed against them, which they do not want, especially at a time period where people actually could connect and actually get together and stop this from occurring because of the technology back in the day, it would have been a lot harder, you know? So keep you inside, keep you away from humans. Make it so, like, you know, the newest generation of kids and teens and, 20-year-olds, Gen Zers, make it so that they are afraid to even use the phone and talk to other human beings, let alone face to face, right? Yeah, it's not done by design, ladies and gentlemen, right? Get the kids who are 5 or 6 years old stuck inside for a year or two without other classmates so that they are, don't know how to interact with other people either and are scarred for life. Yep, gotcha. So, of course, the article goes on to say that we should all, for the next fire, wear N95 masks outdoors. That's just a no-brainer. So the best mask, and I highly recommend it. I mean, I even wear mine, like when I go to the beach still, just to be safe. I end up getting like a burnt from above, but I kind of end up with like a surgical mask. That part's like all pale. So like I look like a half tomato, but I have it like ingrained in me. So I kind of look like the Joker a little bit. So that's kind of cool. I mean, I'm sure all of you guys do the same thing. I'm sure some of you can shower with it on. So them even telling us that we need to wear one when there's smoke in the sky, of course I'm going to wear one. Why even suggesting it at this point? I wear it to bed, for crying out loud. So the best masks should have 2 straps, one that goes over the ears, the other below for a better face seal to ensure you don't suck in any smoke particles when you inhale. Popular for extended wear is the Envo mask series, which uses proprietary N95, blah, blah, blah. I don't need to read on there. Of course, that's what they're pushing, though. Then they talk about getting a nice air filter from your home. I'm sure that air filter will be coated, because you'll buy it from Walmart or one of these big brands that has, that offers them. Someone will buy it. And of course, it'll be coated in aluminum, sulfur, right? I'm sure it will be. So those are some of the things. Create your own air filtration system, right? Like people in today's society could actually do that. The people, at least that they're talking to with this article. Take care of your eyes. Stock up on supplies before summer and peak fire season. Of course. We're stocking up on supplies. That's for sure. Not for these forest fires, though. Consider getting out of town, it says. So these are all ideas that they're giving you there. Yeah, get out of town. What are you going to do when you run to the border of the town and the military's sitting there? All right, you won't be leaving. So stop pretending. This guy's silly, isn't he? Isn't he? I mean, it's too much, isn't it? The similarities with this, right? Meanwhile, they're doing it. They're shielding the sun. But what they want you to do to prepare yourself sounds very similar, to something that just occurred. Stay in. Wait a minute. Yeah. Unbelievable, folks. Prepping people for orange skies, right? And you can't question it. You can't be like, what? How dare you? Don't question the science. Don't question any world events. They're all happening naturally. Of course they are. Because there's not greedy, wicked, elite people out there with trillions of dollars who want to enslave a society. That's never happened before in the history of humanity, right? Oh, wait a minute. That seems to have happened like over and over. It's like almost like that saying, history repeating itself, right? Yeah. Thank everybody for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God bless you and your families.